Welcome back to Bible Shorts, episode 34, A Woman Called Hannah. This is the Sunday School lesson from September 11th, 2022. Now, a man named Elkanah from a city called Ramah in the hill country in Israel used to go up with his family year by year from his town to worship and celebrate the fall harvest at the temple of the Lord in a town called Shiloh. It had been many years since a group of Israelites had left Egypt to come back to this land where their ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob had lived. They brought with them their Exodus story of how their God had brought them out of Egypt, helped them cross the Red Sea on dry land, and how their leader Moses had been given 2 tablets of stone with 10 commandments carved on them. They kept these tablets in a special box, which they called the Ark of the Covenant. And while they had kept the Ark in a tent while they were traveling through the desert, the Ark was now kept in a temple building in the town called Shiloh. Now, when a family like Elkanah's would come to worship and sacrifice to the Lord at Shiloh, they would slaughter an animal and cook it, burn some of the fat as a gift to God, and share some of the meat with the priest who was in charge of the temple. Now, Elkanah had 2 wives. The name of one was Hannah, and the other Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah had none. On the day it was his turn to sacrifice his animal, Elkanah would give portions of the cooked meat to his wife Peninnah and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he would give her a double portion, twice as much as he gave to Peninnah, because he loved her, even though she had no children. Peninnah used to taunt Hannah because she didn't have any children. And it went on from year to year. As often as they went up to the house of the Lord, Peninnah used to provoke Hannah, and therefore Hannah wept and would not eat. Her husband Elkanah said to her, "Hannah, why do you weep? Why do you not eat? Why is your heart sad? Am I not more to you than 10 sons?" Now this year, after they had eaten and drunk, Hannah rose and presented herself before the Lord in the temple where they kept the ark. She was deeply distressed and prayed to the Lord and wept bitterly. And she made this vow, "O Lord God of hosts, if only you will look on my misery and remember me and not forget me, but will give me a male child, then I will dedicate him to serving you." As she continued praying before the Lord, the priest Eli, who was in charge of the temple, saw her. Hannah was praying silently. Only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard, and therefore Eli thought she must be drunk. He said to her, "How long will you make a drunken spectacle of yourself? Put away your wine." But Hannah answered, "No, my lord, I am a woman deeply troubled. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but I have been pouring out my soul before the Lord. Do not regard me as a worthless woman, for I have been speaking out of my great anxiety and vexation all this time." Then Eli answered, "Go in peace. The God of Israel grant what you have asked him." Then Hannah went her way and ate and drank with her husband, and her face was sad no longer. The next day the family rose up early in the morning, worshipped before the Lord, and then they went back home to Ramah. And then time goes by and the Lord remembers her. Hannah conceived and bore a son. She named him Samuel, for she said, "I have asked him of the Lord." The next year, after the birth of Samuel, the man Elkanah and his household went up to offer to the Lord the yearly sacrifice at Shiloh. But Hannah did not go up, for she said to her husband, "When Samuel is older, I will bring him, that he may appear in the presence of the Lord and remain there to serve the Lord." And her husband Elkanah said to her, "Do what seems best to you." And then when Samuel was probably around 5 years old, she took him up with her to the house of the Lord at Shiloh, along with a bowl, an ephah of flour, which is about 6 really big sacks of flour, and a skin of wine. And then they slaughtered the bull for the fat sacrifice and presented the child to Eli. Hannah said, "O my Lord, as you live, my Lord, I am the woman who is standing here in your presence praying to the Lord. For this child I prayed, and the Lord has granted me the petition that I made to him. Therefore, I am lending him to the Lord as long as he lives. He is given to the Lord." Then Elkanah and Hannah went home to Ramah, leaving Samuel to help Eli the priest in the temple of the Lord. And every year afterwards, when Hannah went up with her husband to offer the yearly sacrifice, she would bring a new little robe that she had made for Samuel, a bigger one every year since Samuel grew and grew. And then each year Eli would bless Elkanah and Hannah and say, "May the Lord repay you with children by this woman for the loan that she made to the Lord of the boy Samuel." And the Lord took note of Hannah, and she conceived and eventually bore 3 sons and 2 daughters. And the boy Samuel grew up in the presence of the Lord at Shiloh. Look for Bible Shorts, episode 35, the Sunday School lesson for September 18th. The Lord speaks to Samuel.